Willie, I actually remember that.
Really?
Yes.
You
How
have
many years ago was that?
That was almost 30 years ago.
Gosh, are you giving my age away? So you are the founder of Verimark, right?
Yes, that's right.
How did that company come about?
You know, as a student, I used to do door-to-door selling with a suitcase full of brooms and brushes, and I goes into thousands of houses selling those things to students to make money as a student. And I've learned how the housewives think and what's the products they want. And then after university, I used to work in advertising agencies, and I learned the communication skills. And then when on an overseas trip, on the street corner there, I saw the magnetic window cleaner demonstrated. It was a very primitive version, and I immediately realized there was a need for it. And then I imported the product, and that was the start of Verimark. And of course, the window cleaner followed with a product called the steamer, and it carried on. And what happened there is we demonstrated and promoted the product, and we built a very, very big promotional demonstration company. But of course, when television came, of course, we switched over to television. Right. And then we used to most of the products used to be imported. But unfortunately, when the rand, at one stage, the rand became very, very weak against other currencies. And then we started sort of develop and invent our own products. And that was my sort of introduction to invention.
So how did you know that you were an inventor?
You know, I was brought up on a farm. My father was a sheep farmer. And there was always a saying like a boer maak 'n plan, a farmer makes a plan. And I was always intrigued to see how the farmers can always make a plan. And that sort of intrigued me since a very, very early childhood.
Okay.
And that's how I sort of learned the basic skills in invention, and I understood the power and the sort of the benefits that can come from invention.
So then you sold Verimark, and now you have Inventech. What is different with Inventech?
When I sold Verimark, I was about 46 years old, and I decided I contemplating retirement. But I soon learned the wisdom of Mark Twain's word, that there's nothing wrong with retirement, provided it doesn't interfere with your work. So, so I immediately started inventing, and what happened is that because of my contacts at Verimark, I knew the requirements in the market for different products, and I was approached by many of these overseas companies to sort of come up with products. And but we started to invent one product after another product, and then we developed, in the process, we developed a very, very, very powerful commercialization model that is very, very effective to take South African inventions, to develop it basically in South Africa, and then commercialize on a worldwide basis. In fact, the model that we use is called the Star Innovation Model, and in 100 days, we can get distribution in about 100 countries around the world. It's a very, very effective model that we've developed.
Dying to ask you, what is this contraption? This is one of your inventions,
that's right, yes.
Right? Okay.
This, just by the way, this was year before last year, was Toys R Us International's flagship product. They rated this #1 product, and this product won the South African Toy of the Year award in 2007. And it is basically almost like a Lego, if you're going to use the word Vegas. You just put it together, it clips. It's squares and blocks and triangles. So it learns the kids the mathematical skills, how basic blocks and triangles work. And you can construct any one. So you just put it together basically, and then you can clip the whole thing together in seconds. And you can build many, many structures, from boats, houses, castles, square blocks, big houses. It's very, very simple. You just clip it together. And the nice thing is, and there you go, but the nice thing is, the important thing is, what we must do is that if you want to sort of like, packaging was always a problem when we developed the product. So we've got a macro valve which we installed here. So if you want to sort of like store it, you just press it down, and within seconds the whole thing folds down. And also pumping it up. We've got a macro valve which you can in a second basically pump the
so it's about convenience, Willie, isn't it?
Exactly.
No one's really got the time to construct anything, and the children can actually do it themselves.
Exactly,
right?
And they learn enormous mathematical, creative thinking skills, fundamental. Apart from the fact that they enjoy playing, is they learn those fundamental cognitive skills by developing this, by building with a product.
Okay, so just take me through the process. So would you develop a prototype and then go overseas into their factories and actually, get it produced there? Or
all
what's
products
the process?
basically get developed through 6 stages. You've got an idea stage. That idea must be developed. It must then be industrialized, which means you fine-tune the idea.
Right.
It must be manufactured. It must be marketed, and then it will be used by the customer. So what we do is the idea stage. We invent in South Africa, and we evaluate the idea. The next stage, we built what we call the experimental development sample. This is a rough, very inexpensive unit to see whether our idea works.
Right.
If the idea works, at that stage, we will file a provisional South African patent. Okay. And then what we'll do is we'll then refine that idea. We'll build up to a fully functional prototype. The fully functional prototype, we usually use that one, and we go and sell to whoever we're going to license.
Because that's the point. People just don't want an idea. They want,
want
something tangible to see if it's going to work.
The idea, basically, many inventors think that the idea is the money. The idea is not the money. Money comes from customers standing on queue and your product offering value to them. That is where the money comes from.
You need to get the product on the shelves.
Absolutely.
But don't you think that's one of the challenges? I certainly have found with doing the show that one of the challenges, people have got great ideas.
Yes.
But it's getting from the great idea to commercialize, to get it on the shelves.
Very, very much so. It's like a value chain. Your idea's got a little bit of value. The next stage, when you develop, you add value. Then when you industrialize, you add value. Manufacturing, add value. Marketing, add value. And then ultimately, when the product comes into the market, the customer will decide whether you've got a value proposition that they will buy.
Exactly.
And unless they are prepared and they're happy with the product, you will not make money out of your invention. And most ideas, the problem is most people has got the idea, but the fact is, even if you can develop the product, you can have the most best product, you also need a commercialization model.
100%.
How do you actually get it to market? So the idea in itself is basically useless without the model to commercialize, or the business model of a commercialization model.
Let's look at what else you've got for us, Willie. This looks like a gym equipment thing.
This product called Circle Glide, and what it does is an exercise device. So basically you can do just sort of sideways movements. So then you've got the big rail and it rotates in this direction. You can see you can do a big movement here. You can even do a walking movement. Can you see this is a straight walking movement? Or you can come in this movement. There you've got the straight movement.
So Willie, there's a lot of these kind of gym products on the market. Do you do some kind of research in terms of what are the needs out there?
You know, if you're an inventor, your product should be born out of your thorough understanding and knowledge of the market requirements and the competitive situation and the intellectual property, because you don't want to run a product and there's intellectual property guys who've got patents and then you infringe their patents. So when we come, we only develop products, for example, in the health and fitness, in the consumer market, in the kitchenware, where we've got a thorough understanding of that market. If you do not, it's very, very, very difficult. So before we develop a product, we understand that market, and of course we feed back into the market. We never just develop a product. The first prototype that we built, we test with the market. We check whether it responds to the markets, and then we evolve the product. So unlike many, many sort of novice inventors, which will develop the entire product and then trying to sell it, we will develop a prototype, test it with the market, test it with the people who's going to sell it, and then we systematically and slowly, step by step, evolve the product. And sometimes what we end up is quite radically different to what we initially saw. But in the end of the day, the product is suitable to the market.
You know it's going to sell.
Exactly.
There's a need for it and people like it.
Very, very much.
Let's see what else you've got for us, Willie.
So this is the Circle Glide.
And how difficult or how easy is it to get into the international market?
The international market is extremely, extremely difficult to get into, because what happens there is that as an inventor, you have to, the competition is so very, very difficult. Some of these major commercialization companies around the world has got a choice of literally thousands and thousands of products. So if you go and offer products and penetrate the international market, first of all, the value that you offer, your value proposition in terms of the features, the function, the benefits versus the cost has to be exceptionally high. Because you're competing with the best in the world there. So it's very, very difficult. But we have, as I said, over the last 10 years since the inception of Inventech, we've developed a very, very effective commercialization model which allows us to get entry into all the major players around the world. In fact, we've reached a stage where they come to us now and ask us to develop products and invent products for them.
Excellent.
Let me just quickly show you how this works.
Let's see what you've got. Another gym equipment.
The reason why gym equipment, we've got inventions from farming products to gaming products to household products, but exercise equipment is the #1 category in the world.
Really?
That's the best, very, very good category to sell around the world. So,
what happens is,
so this has got a multi-directional seat system. So you can just put the seat up there, and then you put on your, I'll just show you. There, for example, you'll do a bicep curl, you'll do a tricep, chin pull, side raises. Once you finish with that side, you just go to the other side, see how the seat changes, and the seat adjusts to accommodate your body and provide the correct angle of resistance. Here I will do, for example, I will do a bench press here. There's a fly. I'll do a sort of a abdominal exercise. And then
Does this do well in the States?
This product is going to be, this is not launched, it's going to be launched in the States very, very, very shortly.
Okay, so you're going specifically to the States with this one.
Exactly. And then, of course, you know, I just want to show you one or two more things. I don't know whether you sit in this position.
Okay.
And there you would, for example.
Gosh, you're already doing a workout already.
Full workout. But the nice things with the ladies really like, we've got a very nice leg extender which comes in here. So what happens is you put it in here, and then you put this in basically here, and then you can go and you can do your sort of leg extenders.
You've got a mini gym, like all in one, and it's compact.
Very much so. So you sit around, move it around there, and then you've got your leg extender.
Lastly, what
Yes.
advice have you got for someone out there with a big idea and they have no clue where to go, what to do? What would be the first step?
You must make sure that the idea that has got some sort of that it can work, there's got value. You need to develop a rough experimental development sample, something you can test. If he knows it works, I would file a South African provisional patent. If he wants to tackle the international market, he needs to basically find, first of all, experimental development sample, file a South African patent. Then he goes in and evolve the product until what you call the fully functional prototype, and that is something which you can give to someone else to work.
Right.
Then he must do his homework. Go and search the international market for who you're going to license to.
Research is very important, right?
Very, very critically important. You need to do your homework, and what happens, a lot of inventors, they're not steeped in the field. They go to the wrong people, and there's many, many, many sharks out there that will ask you money to market your product. Usually you should not approach those type of people.